We live in a world where I think the default answer to almost any question is really just, well, more.
Right, yeah.
Like if you want more success, you log more hours.
Yeah.
If you want a more profitable business, you acquire more customers.
Exactly.
If you want to, dominate entertainment, you just flood the zone with more content. We are absolutely conditioned to believe that sheer volume is the ultimate metric of value for, well, for you, for me, for everyone.
Yeah, we totally are.
But the proposal we are tearing into for today's deep dive makes a completely radical, highly counterintuitive claim about the NBA.
It really does.
The claim from our source material is basically this: cutting the NBA season down from 82 games to 60 games wouldn't hurt the league.
No, not at all.
It wouldn't cost them their cultural footprint, but it would fundamentally, dramatically improve the entire sport.
Yeah, and it's a massive systemic shift. We aren't just talking about, tweaking a calendar or adjusting some travel logistics here. By simply playing 22 fewer games over the exact same time period, you fundamentally rewire player physiology.
Which is huge.
It is. And you completely change the strategic evolution that happens on the court, which transforms how the game is actually played.
Wow. Okay.
And maybe most surprisingly, you alter the cultural bond between these franchises and the cities they represent.
Which we'll get into, yeah.
So this is really an exploration into the architecture of peak performance itself, and how, dialing back the sheer volume of output is really the only way to unlock mastery.
I love that. So think about your smartphone for a second.
Okay.
You're running like 50 heavy battery-draining apps all at the exact same time. Right. GPS, 4K video, background syncing.
But yeah, the worst.
And your battery is constantly sitting at 1%.
Right.
The phone is technically working, right?
Right.
Fast, it's buzzing with constant activity, but it is always running incredibly hot.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to melt.
Exactly. It lags when you need it to be sharp, and it feels like it is constantly on the absolute verge of completely crashing. That is the current NBA system.
That's a perfect way to put it. The system is running hot and the battery is at 1%.
Okay.
Mostly because of the physical toll on the human bodies actually playing the game.
Right.
Before we even talk about a basketball, we have to look at the baseline issue of time. Look at the reality of the NBA pace right now. The league simply moves too fast.
Yeah, the games just stack on top of each other.
They do. You have back-to-backs.
Which is brutal.
Yeah, which means a team plays a high-intensity physical game at 7:30 p.m. They finish at 10 p.m.
And then they're done, right?
No, not at all. Then they do mandatory media, they shower, they board a plane at 1 a.m.
Oh my God.
They land in a completely different time zone at 3:30 a.m. They get to a hotel by 4:30 a.m.
That sounds miserable.
And then they're expected to tip off again 14 hours later. That is a relentless, grinding loop of constant travel and incredibly short rest periods.
So, to be clear for everyone listening, the core of this 60-game proposal is how it handles the calendar itself.
Right.
They aren't starting the season in December or ending it in April to condense things, right?
No. They are taking those 60 games and stretching them across the exact same 6-month window that the current 82-game season takes.
Okay, so it's the exact same footprint, just less density.
Exactly. That stretching creates the magic variable, which is negative space.
Negative space, I like that.
It's the empty days on the calendar. And those empty days solve the biggest physiological crisis in the sport right now.
Okay, lay it out for us.
There is a vital distinction between maintaining and recovering.
Right, maintaining versus recovering.
Under the current 82-game system, because those games stack up so relentlessly like we just talked about, players are forced into an endless maintenance loop.
Meaning they never actually heal.
Right. Peak performers cannot actually stay at their peak because their bodies are never given the sheer structural time required to reset the damage done in the previous game.
Yep.
They aren't recovering. They are literally just maintaining a baseline level of functionality.
Wait. I'm not totally buying that.
Okay, why not?
I mean, we are talking about billionaire owners who are spending millions and millions of dollars on sports science.
Sure.
We're talking about hyperbaric oxygen chambers, cryotherapy, personalized sleep rings, biometric tracking.
Well, the gadgets.
Right, and entire staffs of physical therapists dedicated to a single roster. These guys have access to the absolute best medical treatment on planet Earth.
They do.
So how can you say they aren't recovering when there is a massive industry dedicated entirely to their recovery?
Well, because you cannot hack biology to that degree.
What do you mean?
I mean, you can throw all the millions and all the cutting-edge technology in the world at a sprained joint or chronic patellar tendonitis or micro tears in a hamstring.
Yeah.
But soft tissue needs actual time to rebuild. What we call treatment in the current NBA is often just a desperate scramble to mask symptoms.
Oh, wow. So it's not actually fixing the problem.
Yeah. Exactly. You have around-the-clock, 24-hour treatment cycles. Anti-inflammatories, aggressive tissue massage, taping, injections.
Just to get them out there.
Just to get a player physically capable of walking back onto the floor if the next tip-off without visibly limping. That is not recovery. That is survival.
Okay, so what does survival mode actually do to a human body over an 8-month season? I mean, for you listening, imagine your body in that state for 8 months.
It's awful. It means your body is constantly dealing with an emergency state.
Like fight or flight.
Yeah, basically. Your central nervous system is continuously flooded with cortisol. Your inflammation becomes chronic rather than acute.
Man, that sounds exhausting.
You're constantly putting out physiological fires instead of rebuilding the structural integrity of your muscles and ligaments.
So you're never actually getting stronger.
Right. When you are in survival mode, you aren't adapting to the physical stress and improving. You are literally just trying not to completely break apart.
And so the 60-game season fixes this.
Yeah, because a 60-game season stretched over that same calendar fundamentally alters that biological reality. It gives players 3 or 4 days between games.
Which is huge.
It is. That isn't just passive rest. That is the biological runway required to reduce swelling, repair tissue, flush lactic acid naturally, and return to true peak form.
Wow.
So instead of managing pain in real time, they actually heal the underlying micro-traumas.
Okay, let's look at what this survival mode actually costs the game. Because the source material gives us massive, league-defining examples of this attrition.
It really does.
Let's look at Luka Doncic in the finals. This is the biggest stage in the sport.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The whole world is watching. And Luka is dealing with a severe ankle sprain and a knee issue.
Right, he was really banged up.
But because it's the finals, and because of the way the schedule operates, he is absolutely expected to perform at the highest possible level.
And he was forced into that exact 24-hour survival cycle we just talked about.
Right.
Think about it. Here is a transcendent talent operating on the grandest stage, and his body is entirely compromised.
It's so unfair to the player, honestly.
It is. He's getting minimal real rest because the travel between Boston and Dallas, combined with the media obligations, just eats up all the off days.
So there's no actual off day.
Right. And he's getting intensive, painful treatment, likely numbing the area, doing aggressive physical therapy, wrapping it so tightly it restricts natural blood flow.
Ouch.
Yeah, just so he can push off that foot. And then he's thrown right back into a 40-minute high-intensity collision sport.
It's crazy when you frame it like that.
Now, imagine that exact same situation, but with a structural system that actually breathes.
Okay.
A system that isn't just hyper-focusing on artificially treating a specific injured ankle so it's numb enough to bear weight,
Right.
but a system that allows his entire kinetic chain the systemic time to recover.
Yeah, it's the difference between watching a compromised, gritty performance and watching actual greatness. You're watching a different version of the player entirely. And it's not just isolated to one brutal finals run either. It defines entire careers.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is a perfect example. He has spent years in and out of injury protocols.
And people give him so much grief for it.
They do. He takes heavy criticism. But look at the biomechanics of a 6'10", 250-pound human being moving with the agility of a guard.
Right. It's basically physically impossible.
The unrelenting physical demand of an 82-game season simply never lets up on a body like that.
Yeah.
Every jump, every hard landing on the hardwood, every sudden deceleration sends massive kinetic force through his feet, into his knees, and up to his lower back.
Just pounding night after night.
Right, and when you don't have the days off to let that connective tissue regenerate, a minor toe issue alters your running gait.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, and that altered gait puts asymmetrical stress on the calf. Then the strained calf forces the knee to overcompensate.
And then boom.
Exactly. Suddenly you have a player out for 6 weeks with a completely different injury. It's a cascade failure caused by a lack of time.
The cascade failure. That's a great term.
Right.
And then, going further back in the source, you have Brandon Roy.
Yeah, man. Brandon Roy.
He's like the ultimate cautionary tale of elite potential permanently destroyed by structural attrition, isn't he?
He really is. Brandon Roy had a degenerative knee condition, a lack of cartilage.
Right.
In a system that demanded back-to-backs and 3 games and 4 nights and just constant pounding, it became bone on bone almost immediately.
That sounds excruciating.
It was. His career was completely cut short because the environment accelerated the breakdown of his body.
You know, it's like driving a high-performance sports car with a slow leak in one of the tires.
Okay, yeah.
Right now, the league schedule dictates that you just pull the car over every 5 miles on the highway, grab a hand pump, and violently pump a little more air into the tire.
Right, just to get by.
Yeah, just so you can make it to the next exit. And you just keep doing that over and over while the tire integrity just gets worse and worse.
That's spot on.
So a 60-game season is the equivalent of finally taking the car to the shop, taking the wheel off, and actually patching the hole from the inside.
Exactly. I mean, look, injuries are always going to be part of sports. Physics is physics.
Of course.
When a 250-pound athlete lands on another player's foot coming down for a rebound, an ankle is going to turn.
You can't prevent everything.
Right. You can patch the tire, but you will still occasionally run over a nail.
True.
But the entire system surrounding those inevitable injuries can change. That's the point.
Right, by giving them the time.
By moving to a 60-game season, recovery is literally built into the structural foundation of the league.
Wow.
It is institutionalized rather than just being something a desperate training staff tries to aggressively squeeze in during a midnight flight from Denver to Miami.
So if the system stops actively breaking these guys down, what happens to the justification for sitting out?
Oh, that's the big question.
Because this leads to a massive psychological and cultural shift for the entire league. If you rebuild the schedule to heal players, you bring about the death of excuses and the rise of massive expectations.
You really do. This shifts the focus directly from physical health to institutional accountability.
Which is fascinating.
We have to look at the current 65-game minimum requirement for major awards.
Right. Let's explain that.
The NBA recently instituted a rule that to be eligible for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, or All-NBA teams, a player must participate in at least 65 games.
And for anyone listening who isn't a cap nerd, those All-NBA selections are directly tied to Supermax contract eligibility in the collective bargaining agreement.
Yes, exactly.
So we're talking about tens of millions of dollars on the line for hitting that 65-game mark.
Huge money.
So if you drop the entire season to just 60 games total, you blow up that entire threshold. Doesn't that just let players play even less?
Well, no, it actually fundamentally flips the leverage.
How so?
Reducing the total games to 60 while drastically reducing the travel strain and eliminating the back-to-backs completely changes the expectations placed on any supposedly healthy player.
Okay, I'm tracking.
It comes down to the complete elimination of the load management justification.
Right. Load management, the phrase fans hate the most.
Exactly. Right now, front offices and medical staffs preemptively sit star players on the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah, you see it all the time.
They look at the analytics and say, well, the injury risk on this Tuesday night in Charlotte is 40% higher because of the travel schedule, so we are resting our star.
Right.
It is a preemptive survival strategy, but it's born out of an abusive schedule.
But if you remove the abusive schedule, the math changes completely.
Exactly. With a shorter season, with ample recovery time built right into the calendar, there is simply zero biological or analytical reason for a healthy star to sit out a game.
So the expectation radically increases.
It does. If you are healthy, you are playing. That becomes the new, undeniable baseline standard across the league.
No more pointing to this schedule as an excuse for an absence.
None. The excuses are gone.
I hear that. But put yourself in the shoes of a fan for a second.
Okay.
Like a fan buying a season ticket package.
Right.
Or someone paying $100 a month for a regional sports cable network.
Right.
If you shrink the season by a massive chunk of 22 games, aren't those fans getting cheated?
I know. It feels that way.
I mean, they are paying for a product, and you are objectively giving them less of that product. Fewer games means fewer chances to watch their favorite team.
It's the most natural objection. It really is. And it goes right back to the more is better fallacy we opened with.
Okay.
But the reality hinges entirely on the difference between quantity and quality.
Quality over quantity.
Right. Because the attrition rate drops, and because the load management excuses disappear, like we said, your stars are actually on the floor more reliably.
Wait, they're on the floor more reliably even with fewer games?
Yes, absolutely. So it's about the consistency of the elite product.
Oh, I see.
For the casual viewer and the diehard fan, the quality of basketball drastically improves. Think about the current fan experience.
Right.
A family saves up for months to buy tickets to see a specific superstar when that team comes to their city once a year.
Right, it's a huge event.
They get to the arena, and an hour before tip-off, it's announced the superstar is resting because of a quote-unquote sore hamstring.
Which is so frustrating.
And that sore hamstring is really just code for exhausted from a flight.
Yeah, exactly.
That fan is cheated.
Right.
Or let's say the star does play, but they are playing at maybe 70% capacity.
Just going through the motions.
Right, barely moving on defense, just trying to survive the night. Under a 60-game model, the viewer isn't getting that hollowed-out version of the sport.
Okay.
They are getting the elite, fully recovered, peak version of the athlete, consistently showing up because the schedule actively allows them to.
That makes a lot of sense.
The expectation is raised precisely because the structural barrier to excellence has been completely removed.
It's the difference between, like going to an incredible, mind-blowing, high-energy concert that lasts 90 minutes
Right.
versus sitting through a 3-hour concert where the singer is losing their voice, forgetting the lyrics, leaning on the mic stand, and clearly just wants to go back to the hotel.
Exactly. You want the peak experience.
But the benefits of this negative space don't stop at the physical body or the fan's viewing experience.
No, they don't.
We've solved the physical wear and tear, but basketball at this level is a game of the mind just as much as the body. Let's look at the strategic evolution that happens when you inject time into the equation.
This is the unseen advantage that completely changes how basketball is played.
I found this part of the source material so interesting.
Yeah, because when we talk about time, we naturally default to thinking about rest and physical healing, like we just spent all that time on.
Right.
But time is also the primary currency of intelligence and preparation.
Oh, that's good. Time is the currency of intelligence.
Having 2 or 3 days between games unlocks a completely different mental approach to the sport. It enables actual real practice.
Real practice.
It enables deep, systematic film study where a coaching staff can break down mistakes and make real adjustments.
Okay, but what does that look like compared to right now? Because I think fans hear NBA practice and just assume these guys are running drills every day like high schoolers.
Yeah, that's a huge misconception. The reality of an NBA practice in the middle of an 82-game season is incredibly bleak.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because teams are constantly rushing from one game to the exact next game, often arriving in a new city at 3 a.m., they don't have the luxury of overhauling a flawed defensive scheme.
What will they do?
A practice is often just a 45-minute walkthrough in a hotel ballroom.
A hotel ballroom. Are you serious?
Seriously, they aren't going full speed, they aren't risking contact, they are relying on what are essentially just quick fixes.
Okay, what's a quick fix in this context?
A quick fix is a coach pointing at a whiteboard and saying, hey, next time fight over the screen instead of going under.
Right.
It's verbal, it's superficial. A real adjustment requires the laboratory of an actual practice facility.
Not a ballroom.
Right. It requires running the opposing team's weak side screening actions at full speed for an hour so the defensive rotations become muscle memory.
Wow.
And crucially, it requires the time to mentally digest that new information before immediately playing a game.
You know, it sounds like right now teams are basically cramming for a massive final exam every single night.
That is exactly what they're doing.
You land in a city, you skim the scouting report,
Yeah.
you memorize just enough tendencies to hopefully pass the test the next evening.
Right.
And anyone listening who has ever crammed for a test knows you aren't actually learning the material. You forget it the second the test is over.
Exactly. You dump it from your brain.
Right. A 60-game season actually gives these coaching staffs the time to do the homework, to deeply study the material, to understand the underlying geometric concepts of the spacing,
Yes.
and to actually get permanently smarter as a unit.
Cramming versus true comprehension is exactly what is happening here. The result of giving teams time is a vastly superior intellectual product on the court.
That's a great way to put it.
It envisions a more strategic, intentional version of basketball. Tendencies are rigorously studied.
So they actually have time to counter the other team.
Right. If an opponent runs a specific pick-and-roll variation that exploits your sender's lack of mobility, you don't just endure it.
Which is what they do now.
Right now they just suffer through it.
Yeah.
But with time, you spend 2 days installing an entirely new switching mechanism to neutralize it. Teams would genuinely evolve throughout the season.
Intentional basketball.
Mhm.
That means less isolation ball, less relying purely on one guy making an impossible shot because the offensive system broke down from exhaustion.
Exactly. When teams can sit in the film room and ruthlessly break down their own mistakes without the immediate crushing pressure of a tip-off happening the very next night, the entire chess match elevates.
It's like going from checkers to chess.
It really is. The result is a smarter game, a cleaner game, a better game. You are watching a higher synthesis of strategy.
Whereas now,
Right now, late in the fourth quarter of a back-to-back, you are essentially watching a disorganized track meet of exhausted athletes relying purely on baseline instinct.
yeah, you see a lot of sloppy turnovers, missed assignments.
Exactly. Give them time and you get high-level, precise execution.
A smarter, cleaner, better game. It completely reframes the argument from just taking away games to refining the sport into its highest possible form.
It really does.
But the benefits of this injected time don't just stay inside the arena, do they?
No, they don't. There is a final, incredibly vital piece to this shift that spills out into the wider world.
Okay, let's get into it.
We have to look at the cultural connection between the league and the cities.
This was my favorite part of the deep dive material.
The NBA isn't just a televised league. It's an essential part of the cultural fabric of the cities it lives in. These teams are pillars of civic identity. But under the current model, the sheer velocity of the schedule actively isolates the players from the communities they represent.
Because they're never actually there.
Right. More space in the schedule directly translates to more opportunities for players to actually be physically present in their cities.
What does that look like practically?
We are talking about meaningful community events, localized outreach, and genuine, sustained interaction with the fan base.
Think about the logistics of that right now.
Right.
If a star player is stuck in a 24-hour treatment cycle, just trying to get a swollen knee functional enough to play on a Tuesday night.
After flying in from a 3-game road trip.
Right. They physically cannot spend their Monday afternoon running a youth clinic in a local neighborhood.
They literally can't.
They are likely sleeping until 2 p.m. just to recover their circadian rhythm from crossing 3 time zones.
Exactly. The human bandwidth simply does not exist.
But a healthier player.
A healthier, more rested player finally has the energetic capacity to be a pillar of their community. Yeah. By creating space in the schedule, the league gives its biggest stars the capacity to build a stronger, more authentic, face-to-face relationship with the people who buy the jerseys and support the franchise.
Which builds lifelong fans.
It does. A 60-game season doesn't take that cultural bond away by offering fewer television broadcasts.
Right.
It actively strengthens it by allowing the humans playing the game to exist within the city.
But let me challenge that from the perspective of the pure consumer.
Okay, hit me.
Is a diehard fan sitting at home really going to care about a player doing an afternoon youth clinic or visiting a local hospital if it means that fan loses 22 entire games of live basketball on their television every year?
That's a fair point to bring up.
Does community presence realistically outweigh actual on-court entertainment hours for the person paying the bills?
You have to view it holistically. It isn't a zero-sum trade where you swap a Tuesday night broadcast for a charity photo op.
Okay, explain that.
This entire paradigm shift is not about doing less. It's about doing things better across every single metric.
Every metric.
Yes. The argument is that the depth of connection a fan feels to a franchise that is actively, genuinely present in their local community, when combined with the vastly superior, highly strategic, physically elite, peak performance basketball they are watching on the court, creates an exponentially superior overall product.
Oh, I see. It all stacks together.
Exactly. You are getting healthier players performing at the limits of human potential. You are getting higher level coaching and intentional basketball.
Right.
You are getting stars who are reliable and accountable.
It gives absolute clarity on what the game is supposed to look like at its absolute best.
It really does.
When you step back and look at the whole picture, the logic is staggering.
It's hard to argue with.
By simply giving players the structural gift of time, compressing the volume down to a 60-game season spread over the exact same 6-month window, The League fundamentally solves its deepest, most existential crises.
Yes, all of them.
It cures the survival mode injury loops by allowing true physiological healing instead of constant band-aids. It dramatically raises the expectations for superstars to actually play,
Yeah.
killing the era of preemptive load management.
Exactly.
It unlocks elite strategic evolution in the film room and the practice facility, creating a deeply intelligent, cleaner game.
Yes.
And it deepens the cultural, human ties to the cities these teams represent. It is the ultimate argument for subtraction by addition.
That is perfectly summarized. And it leaves us with a profound underlying philosophy that extends far beyond the basketball court.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
This breakdown proves that even at the absolute highest, most scrutinized levels of professional performance, simply dialing back the sheer relentless volume of work is often the secret key to unlocking true mastery.
Wow.
It forces us to ask the deeply uncomfortable question of ourselves, and I want you listening to really think about this.
Think about it, yeah.
What areas of your own life, your career, or your learning are currently stuck in a frantic, exhaustive survival mode?
That hits.
And how much better, how much sharper and more effective could your output be if you simply gave yourself the structural space to truly recover, study your own film, and strategize?
From a system on the verge of crashing at 1% battery to a fully charged, fully optimized reality,
Exactly.
it really makes you rethink what better actually means. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.